Welcome everybody to the very first episode of the revamped version of the Fanatic Brackets on the Ring Fanatics YouTube channel. I am Nick, your host. With me, as always, my co-host from the Ring Fanatics podcast, the one and only Joel, down below. And with us for the very first episode, we got a special guest. He is a good friend of ours from the ASC videos and the Raw Down from the Turnbuckle Tavern, the one and only Anthony, aka Young Anthony. What's going on, man?
What's going on, gentlemen? It's good to be back. It's a long time that I haven't been on one of these, so it's good to finally be back. Was I one of your first guests? Like, wasn't I the first guest on your?
Yes.
On,
I
like,
believe so.
So we had to keep the tradition going. First guest on the new show. I'm liking it. So
exactly.
Full circle.
Full circle. I think this is your
booking. I like it.
Yeah, fifth time on the channel. So I believe
five time.
Yeah.
Finally get to say that.
I know, it's about time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, whoever's listening to this right now on YouTube, and follow us on all our platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, literally anywhere, including the audio streaming platforms. So the rules, I'm going to explain the rules of how we're going to break down this bracket for those who have never heard at previous bracket episodes. So us three, myself, Joel, Anthony, have filled out our own personal brackets. And we're going to discuss it together as a group, and we're going to break down we have a bracket right in front of us on YouTube. We're going to break down a group bracket, and the way we're going to determine who moves on to the next round is whichever superstar gets 2 or 3 votes will move on to the next round, and we're going to do that for each round. And it's really no way to look at it. You can look at it as different as possible. Whether it's who had the biggest pop, who had the greatest run in the Rumble. Literally, we can look at it as differently as possible. So there's no right or wrong answers. It's based on personal opinion. So let's just get right into it anyways. I'm going to start off with you, Anthony, since you're our guest. We're going to start off the bracket with you with the very first matchup here. We got Edge's return in 2020 going up against Sami Zayn's Royal Rumble debut in 2016. Who do you got moving on to the next round, and your explanation on why?
Yeah, so like just to set the scene a little bit, like, you know, you guys let me pick the topic for this first episode. Yeah. So greatest Royal Rumble surprises since 2010.
Yes,
because that's all I remember, because that's all I've been watching wrestling for.
I want to see me too.
I kind of just went back in my mind and I thought, like, what was the 16 like most impactful Rumble moments for me? And like, this is what I came up with. So when you're talking about like Edge from 2020 and Sami Zayn from 2016, like, I wanted to make sure Edge was on here, but I wasn't sure because I wasn't going to put Edge twice, because like you could go either way with it. Edge from 2010 was like the first big surprise that I ever, you know, watched. I didn't get it at the time because I wasn't watching wrestling for that long, but it was like still impactful the first time see Edge, you know, back of the Royal Rumble and all that stuff. But 2020 was just like, it was how many years in the making? 9 years in the making that he finally came back. No one knew that it was going to happen. There's no way to compare it to the Sami. Like, Sami Zayn, it was a good moment for what it was, but like we had already seen Sami Zayn on the main roster by that point, like doing the John Cena stuff. So it was cool that he came back, but like, how could you not give it to Edge? So I'm advancing Edge early on here.
What about you, Joel? What about you? Who you got?
1000% agree. It makes just perfect sense. It was just a moment in time that was just like, it was one of those, like, you had to see it to believe it. Like, it was always rumored, like, Edge is coming back, but it was like one of those, like, it's kind of like when CM Punk returned. It was like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to say Edge here, so it's a clean sweep as well. But even if you did go with the Edge from 2010, I still feel like I still would have chosen Edge to begin with.
Yeah.
Because although I love Sami Zayn's moment, because you got to remember the 2016 Royal Rumble was also for the WWE Championship. So you could say he got a WWE Championship opportunity, his first Royal Rumble match. Even though we all kind of knew who was going to win it, it was still a cool moment to see him in that WWE Championship picture in the Rumble. So I'm not going to discredit that pick, but I do have to go with Edge. That was an amazing pop, amazing reaction from the crowd that night. I still get goosebumps watching it. So I'm gonna have to go with Edge there too, as he clean sweeps Sami Zayn. Sorry, Sami Zayn, but
Also,
Edge,
can we also talk about how they fucked up the camera angle when he came back?
Yeah, that was the worst part about it.
Tough.
They fixed it, thankfully, like on the
Yes,
network and stuff.
but in the moment when you
In the
don't get
moment, it
to
was
see the first
awful.
spear, yeah, kind of
I know
heartbreaking.
it was like it
Forgot
was.
all about that.
I saw that. I'm like, no way they had to switch off camera last minute. I'm like, that was 9 years for his first spear, and it's like,
Who was his first spear on? Was it Ziggler or
I
was it
believe it was Ziggler.
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
either him or Carl Anderson because they showed Carl Anderson like right in front of the
Yeah,
camera when you
yeah.
heard his music.
Technically, it was Carl
Yeah,
Anderson for the people at home, but like if you were
yeah,
there, then it was Ziggler.
Ziggler. Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, Edge will get the clean sweep there. No discredit to Sami Zayn, but that moment is just iconic between the two. Next matchup, let's start with Joel with this one: Booker T from 2011 and Michelle McCool in the first Women's Royal Rumble match in 2018.
Um. So shout out to Booker T, right? Show love to Booker T, but have to go with Michelle McCool. It was just one of those moments that we weren't sure what was happening with the Women's Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Like the roster was small, we didn't know who was coming back, who was gonna show up, and then she killed it in the Rumble, and was amazing. So like I gotta give it to Michelle McCool just for that.
Ooh, that's a good pick. Anthony, who do you got this round?
It was tough for me because Michelle McCool was definitely a big surprise. Booker T was a huge surprise too. Because I remember just like watching at the time, 2011. Like I was a big TNA fan at the time, so I was definitely paying attention to some Booker T in TNA. But like when he showed up in WWE, it was like, holy shit, like he's back. Like I could finally
Yeah.
watch him in WWE. Michelle McCool, on the other hand, like I think she had the most eliminations in the Rumble,
I believe
and
so.
like that
Yeah.
record stayed for a while until I think like Bianca broke it. And it's just so random to think like in the first Rumble, you had Michelle McCool as the one with the most
Yeah.
eliminations. So shout out to her. But I had to go with Booker T here. It was kind of hard for me not to. Just I think what really sold me on this was Match Striker on the call. And he is
Okay.
one I have
Yeah.
gone on to say he is one of the most underrated commentators of all
I
time.
would agree with
And
you
he
on that.
really made that
Agree.
moment so much bigger than it was. He was damn near cursing on the calls because he was so excited to see Booker T back. He hit all of his moves. You know,
Yeah.
he was doing the spinneroonie, did the scissor kick, he did everything. So I had to give it to Booker here.
And for me, I would have to choose Booker T for this one as well. Mainly because not only was it a cool moment, but I think what made it cooler for me was during that, like right before he came out, you had the Nexus, like CM Punk's Nexus,
Right.
standing in the middle of the ring. CM Punk was being all cocky, like, "Oh, we're gonna eliminate them. We got 4 guys here." Then Booker T's music hit, and then the reaction on their faces were like, "What the fuck?" You know. So that moment was cool itself, and I thought that was a great moment, and that was just a genuine surprise for me as a fan. Um, but as opposed to Michelle McCool, it was like they were bringing back legends throughout the night anyway. So it's like, oh, that's cool to have her back, but I think it was like it's not like a return if that makes sense. You
Gotcha.
know what I mean? So it wasn't. It was cool to see in the ring, but I think between the two, Booker T had a bigger impact on surprises. If there were like a list, I would rank that one over Michelle McCool.
And he had a little bit of a run after that return too. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he
Booker
fought
T.
Cody.
Yeah.
You know, he was involved in a few other matches.
I think he was. I know this was like a year later, but he was involved in that like Teddy Long, John Laurinaitis storyline the year later.
Yeah.
And I think that was like his start to the commentator. That was the same year he started commentating for WWE again.
Yes. Yeah.
So
2011. And he was the
yeah,
GM too. For
I forgot
SmackDown.
about that.
I fucking forgot he was a GM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. For a brief moment, he was GM.
I
But
don't know
yeah,
if I
I
forgot it or I tried to block it out. It's one of the two.
it was a
Yeah.
short run though. I think it was a short run. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a long
It
lived.
wasn't nothing crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't too big. Next round, I'll start this one off. Rey Mysterio from 2018 going up against Kevin Nash in 2011. For me, I had to go with uh, Kevin Nash's in 2011,
Ooh.
mainly because although I am a big Rey Mysterio fan, I've been a Rey Mysterio fan since day one, like one of the greatest superstars in my opinion, up there. But in terms of impactful, like there's surprise, it would have to be Kevin Nash's. It's kind of similar to Booker T's reason when he came out that Rumble. It was like a genuine surprise for everyone. A bigger moment than Rey Mysterio's, because I think at around that time Rey Mysterio was also like in the names of like this. He might be one of the ones rumored to return in that year's Rumble. As of
Yeah,
Kevin
that
Nash's,
was
it was
right
a
when.
complete surprise.
Yeah, that was when he came back from Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it was like a genuine surprise for everyone that he just showed up randomly at the Rumble. So I had to choose him over Rey Mysterio, in my opinion.
Good pick. Good pick.
How about
Let's
you,
go
Anthony?
with who wants to go next. Who wants to get their pick?
Give it to Anthony.
I mean, I'm gonna give it to Mysterio, mainly because it led to what, in my opinion, is the greatest final six in Rumble history. Like, you had on one side Reigns, Nakamura, and Balor. On the other side, you had the Ruthless Aggression stars of
Yeah,
Cena, Orton, and Mysterio. Seeing those two, like, quote unquote teams, trios going at each other, just that stare down, and what led to best, just everyone going at each other. And then, of course, that followed up with Cena, Nakamura, Balor, Reigns being in the final four. That to me, like, showed like that was one of the most underrated Rumbles of all time, 2018 Men's Royal
yeah,
Rumble.
Yeah.
And like Mysterio, this was also during the time where he wasn't signed to come back to WWE officially. Like, he would still, after that Rumble, we wouldn't see him for a little bit till I think he like showed up at like that greatest Royal Rumble, the 50 man
yeah,
that they did. And then he showed up there, and I don't even think he was signed then. It was only
yeah.
like a few weeks or months later that he finally sorry,
Made it
my dog is
official.
barking in the background.
No,
Oh, you're good.
It's time for his dinner, but
he's giving his answer too.
yeah, he's giving it.
Giving
He's a
his
big
answer.
Mysterio fan. That was during the time when like it was the 50-man Royal Rumble,
Yeah,
and he wasn't there for like the next few weeks or months, and then he finally comes back. So it's like he was a surprise for a little bit, and then he finally came back, and now he's still wrestling for WWE. I think he even didn't he show up for All Out, or sorry, All
all
in
in.
that year
Yes.
before he came back officially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he was all over the place. With all of that taken into consideration, I'm going to give it to Ray because his moment in particular, like the last time we saw him was what, 2014 in WWE. So
I believe so. Yeah,
I'll
and
give it.
same thing with Kevin Nash too. Kevin Nash also had a brief feud with CM Punk that year. That was the year he went up against Punk at SummerSlam and that whole Triple H thing.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
even though he wasn't signed, it was still like it led to a return for Kevin Nash for a bit,
yeah. No, that's a
which is
great
cool to
point. I
see.
forgot about that.
Yeah, Joel,
That
we
led
gotta get your
to
answer. Would you have
LOL.
Kevin
Thought he was
Nash?
dead.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought you.
I gotta give it to Kevin Nash. Not only because it's Kevin Nash, we hadn't seen Diesel since '95.
Yeah,
You
That's
know what
true.
I
It
mean?
was
Like,
Diesel. Yeah.
and
yeah,
it
it was
was
Diesel.
right after kind of like the Booker T, right off of his main event Mafia run, and it was just one of those moments that you didn't think you would see. Like, of course, Kevin Nash was scattered throughout the 2000s in WWE, but like coming back as Diesel, I think was just like gave something nostalgia for the fans. That's why I'm giving him the edge. Of course, Mysterio, it was a great redemption for, I believe it was 2016 one where he got booed out the building, right? Was it
Yeah,
2016 or
Yeah.
2015?
Uh,
I think it's 2015 was the last one.
2015,
He.
no,
right?
14, because that was
14?
when
Yes, that
Brian
was.
was going to win, or they
Oh
wanted
Yes.
yes,
Brian to
yeah,
win.
And he came out at number 30, and the
Yeah.
place just booed him out the building. So it was a cool redemption story, and like you said, it led to that big ending with the two errors on each side of the ring, having that moment, the face off, and then him getting signed the next year. But the Kevin Nash, man, I'm all
Yeah.
about
No, I get that.
nostalgia. It
yeah.
was just one of those moments I was like, wow, yeah, this is dope. Like, never thought I would see Diesel come out in full gear in a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2011 was really good for those surprises, but it's
Yes.
It was.
for
It
me it
was.
was Booker T was the big one because I could relate to Booker T being a big surprise because I was watching him for a little bit.
Yeah.
Diesel wasn't as big for me because like I wasn't a fan in obviously like
Yeah.
the 90s when he was
Yeah,
around.
exactly. Yeah.
But regardless, like when I saw Diesel come out, because I didn't like catch his music at first, I was like, who the fuck is this? When I saw him come out, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Man dyed his hair for this. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He means business.
yeah.
But yeah, I totally get the Kevin Nash pick. I'm cool with that.
He finally
he-
got the pop that Vince wanted him to get in the 90s.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like
Yeah.
he was dead ass like Roman Reigns before Roman Reigns. Like, they
Yeah.
were trying hard with Diesel and it just was not working.
But his theme
Yeah.
song, when it hit though, it hit differently. It was like you heard the engine just go up.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's just you hadn't heard it in so long, and
Yeah.
you've seen Kevin Nash there, but for him to come back like that was just like, whoa, this is
And-
something different we haven't seen in this.
And I believe it was Kofi Kingston that had that genuine shock on his face.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
corner.
he's in the corner.
Yeah. And
With his
that
eyes
made
bugging out.
that summed up like everyone's face. But for me,
Yeah.
it was. I was like, what?
When was the last time that he was in WWE before that Rumble? I don't even.
It's been a while.
Was it like 2004?
Yeah,
Was
when
the
he
last
did
time?
when he did the whole storyline with Triple H with the Bad Blood match. and
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say like 04. And then
Yeah.
he came back then he left, did the indie run, did the TNA run, and then came back and then did the Punk stuff.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy. I know. And then I think the end of that year was like a sledgehammer on a pole instead of like a championship, it was a sledgehammer hanging from the thing. I don't know. It was weird.
God.
We don't
It
talk
was-
about that
God.
one.
Yeah. It was-
Who was booking that shit?
I don't know. That was weird. That was weird. But yeah, Kevin Nash advances to the next round and eliminates Rey Mysterio. Next round matchup, Ty Dillinger from 2017 going against Chris Jericho's return in the 2013 Royal Rumble. Anthony, I'm going to start off with you again with this round. Who do you got between the two and why?
Okay, so if I was on the Raw down right now, I'd be hitting the hot takes button. Get your hot takes here.
Yeah.
But hear me out. Chris Jericho, 2013, great pop. One of the biggest Rumble pops I've heard to this day for someone to return.
Yeah.
What took me out of it was he just returned a year before and he had a huge presentation to him. They were doing all those creepy vignettes, and
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite return hypes in a while, like of all time. Like I got those same vibes that we got recently with Bray Wyatt doing
Yeah.
like the White Rabbit, all those creepy vignettes finally leading up to like that big entrance. That was the same thing with Jericho, that he was doing those with, you remember like the little schoolgirl with
Yes.
like the
Yes.
Writing on the
creepy
desk.
fucking
Yeah.
yeah, and she was writing the shit.
I remember
Like,
that. It's welcome.
that was like, to me, that was the big Jericho return. And then like 2013 happens, like it's it was cool to see him return, but like return again. That's like saying, the 2021 Edge Royal Rumble return was bigger than 2020. Like it happened the year after, and obviously there's not like we just saw him return.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. That kind of takes me out of it, because even when I was watching it, I was like, okay, Jericho's back, but like we just saw this. So
Yeah.
with that being said, that Ty Dillinger pop was crazy because everyone wanted it to happen. And I don't think anyone knew that it was like going to be delivered on.
Yeah.
And when they finally like gave it to you, like everyone was like, oh, Dillinger's got to be number 10. He's got to be number 10 in the Rumble.
God,
And
it
even
was
if
one
he
of those that's like he has to be like they.
yeah,
have to
it's
give
like
this
he had
us.
to have been it.
Yeah.
So when they finally gave it to you, even if he was eliminated like after a second, like
Yeah.
as long as he was number 10, like that's all that mattered. So when he finally gets his theme song at number 10, it's like, boom, that needed to happen.
Perfect
With that
moment.
being said,
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Dillinger over Jericho. It might have been a hot take, but that moment was it was Ty Dillinger's fucking crowning moment. That's all he needed.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you mentioned the Jericho return thing, I think also people were saying at that time, I know it's a little bit off topic, but at that time, people were saying it was also either him or Undertaker returning. I remember those were the two names that possibly could have been to
Yes.
return. And then all of a sudden, we saw like the jacket light up, and then he did the pose, and it's like, oh, it's Jericho. It's Jericho. But I think that one was more memorable than the 2013 one. But Joel, who do you have picking for Jericho or Ty Dillinger?
Dillinger, baby.
Dillinger.
It was
Let's
such
go.
a big
Dillinger.
moment. Jericho was dope. Jericho, like you said, it was like he just returned the year before, so it wasn't really as big of a moment. It's kind of like how we got recently when Edge got kicked out. Edge, I forgot what happened, and then all of a sudden, for 2 weeks, we got vignettes of like, who's this person?
Yeah.
And it was like, is this Edge? Like, he just left 2 weeks
Right,
ago.
right.
How is there already like return vignettes for him?
Yeah.
But then it turned into like the Judgment Day and shit like that. But I feel it was like kind of like that. That was just like, we just saw this.
Oh yeah,
But
and,
it was still a cool moment. But like,
It was
and that's
cool
a good
because it
example.
came out.
But like what I was talking about, and I completely forgot that happened. That was legit last year.
Yeah.
Was
yes.
the 2021 Rumble when Edge returns in 2020. He comes into the Rumble and he does all those matches with Orton. He gets injured, and then a few weeks before the 2021 Rumble, Edge is like, "I'm making my return to the Royal Rumble."
Yes.
Like he
Yes.
just made his return last year. You're gonna have him return again?
Well,
Yeah.
we're reliving history because I feel like for the last 2 weeks we've been getting vignettes about Cody coming back.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
like he just got hurt in May.
exactly.
We know he's coming
Yeah.
back. You don't have to tell us he's coming back, but I'm sure at the end of the last vignette, whether it's tonight or next Monday, I think it'll close out with, and I'm entering the Royal Rumble, which
Probably.
it shouldn't be. They should have never even had vignettes for him. Just let it happen naturally. I feel like the same thing with Edge too. They should have just let it happen naturally. It happened the year before. Not that big of a surprise based on like when he got injured or when he was going to return. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now with social media, you see when people are posting all this stuff, whether it's Brandy posting him in the ring working out at the gym, so you know he's getting better, and you're like, well, he's got to return before
Yeah.
Mania. You know what I mean? It's
You
kind
know
of one of
why
those
I think
situations.
you know why I think they might have been doing this whole vignette thing. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know why I think they might be doing this vignettes with Cody is like I was thinking about this. Probably not going to happen. I kind of don't want it to happen. I have a feeling that like maybe for the women's Royal Rumble, you
I
have
know.
Brandy enter the
Yep.
ring.
Ugh.
So I think that if they
Maybe
do
not.
that, it'll probably be even worse of a spoiler that Cody's
I
entering
would
the
throw
Rumble.
my TV out if that.
Yeah, I'm gonna cancel the Peacock Network. But I think that's why they might be doing this instead. So it'll be like, oh, we know he's coming back already. We don't have to have Brandy ruin it
Yeah.
herself. But yeah,
Not to get off topic about the whole Cody thing, but I think it's smart for them to announce Cody ahead of time because if anything, that sets a precedent that he has to win the Royal Rumble. And it's like if you have The Rock there, you don't want The Rock's return if he shows up. You don't want his return
Yeah.
to trump Cody's return. So at least
It's
have
gonna
him
either
announce
way,
his
whether you-
return.
I was
But
gonna say it's gonna mess it up either way, whether you announce it or not. He could show
no,
up.
that's true.
He could show up number 30. If The Rock shows up after him, no one's gonna remember Cody came back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's gonna be one of those moments that's just like, okay. You know
I
what
said
mean?
it on the Raw Down, and I'll say it here. They're gonna do it so that tonight it's gonna show him training, and he's gonna say next week I'm gonna be on Raw.
Yes.
And
at
on
the
Raw
30th anniversary.
on the 30th anniversary,
Yep.
he's gonna come out, he's gonna cut a promo, and he's gonna say, I'm entering the Rumble at number 1 because I don't want to come back to the Rumble and get a handout or an easy number. So I'm coming out at number 1. And at the Rumble, he's gonna come in at number 1, and number 2 is gonna be Seth Rollins. And somehow they're gonna eliminate each other, and that's gonna set up their Mania match. Calling
mess
it
with
right
that.
now.
I mess with that. I thought
I
you
could
were
see
gonna go
that.
a whole different way and do like
Yeah, me too. I was like, I thought you
Bulldog
was-
and Shawn Michaels. They were both 1 and 2, and then were the last 2. I thought that's where you were going. I was about to say,
Oh no, that would have been cool
be
too.
insane if
But I
that
mean,
happens.
I'm pretty set on Rock winning at this point. So it's kind of like, how do you get to Cody and Seth and not interrupt The Rock?
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah,
Definitely understand that.
yeah, that is true.
now that we're done with the Cody
Yeah.
take,
Yeah.
Nick,
what was
you
your
have-
pick?
Back to the bracket. Yeah, so I thought that I was the only one that chose Ty Dillinger. So I chose Ty Dillinger. Clean sweep. Did not expect this to be a
Yeah.
clean sweep.
Clean
Probably the
sweep.
upset of the bracket. But the reason why I chose him is I think I said this on the Ring Fanatics podcast once before that the Ty Dillinger entrant was one of my personal favorites of all time because of how creative that was. Because of course his gimmick, like as you said, Anthony before, the 10 thing, the perfect 10, and he came out at 10. That makes total sense. That was one of the creative things that could happen in a rumble. Whoever thought of that, I hope deserved a raise after that because that was a perfect entrant. And that was like I said, one of the most creative entrants that I've seen. So I couldn't not choose that. So yeah, that's why I
Definitely.
chose Ty Dillinger. I thought you two were gonna choose Jericho, in my opinion too.
Nah, Dillinger was just such a big moment, and I actually thought they were gonna be assholes about it and give him to us like number 9 or 11 just to be
Yeah,
like, but
yeah,
like of course they would. You
And
know what I
Nick, the
mean?
funny thing about what you said is that yes, it is creative, but at the same time, it's not creative because it's literally right there. His gimmick is number
yeah,
10.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it was so easy for them to just do it, and I'm glad that they did. So, yeah,
yeah. That is true. That is true. But I just couldn't not go with that one. That's like my favorite entrance. One of the favorite entrants that
yeah,
I've
for
seen
sure.
when watching the Rumble. Now next round, commentators. When each commentator entered the 2012 Royal Rumble, going up against 2016's Triple H entrant when he came out, I believe, at number 29 or 30, when he won the WWE Championship. Joel, we're gonna start off with you. We're gonna give you the tough one. Who do you got between those two?
The game.
The game.
Easy. The game. Easy. Just I can't remember if he was announced or not, but I
He
Nope.
was
still feel like
surprised.
it was such a huge moment, so I'm feeling like he wasn't announced for it cuz I remember going crazy when this happened. And just knowing like, yo, we're about to get Triple H as champion. Cuz there's no way he's not winning this.
Yeah,
Um, and also I was going to Mania that year, so I was keeping an eye on the Rumble to see what was happening. And it was just one of those moments. It was like, oh shit, we're getting Triple H as champion. I knew it once
yeah,
he came out. I knew it was happening. I was
You
like,
had to.
well, it'll lead up. I thought it was gonna lead up to him, Roman, Ambrose, but we didn't get that. We got him and Roman, which was what it was. But it can't overshadow the fact of the Royal Rumble return that he had. I think it was amazing. Commentators were dope. It was a cool moment, funny, like oh shit, like that's dope. But like Triple H was just on another level.
yeah. That is true. Um, I'm gonna go with the commentators for this one.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of a hot take, but for me, the reason why I didn't choose Triple H because I feel like when I was watching that, I kind of knew he was coming out anyways, so it wasn't like a big deal. Like, oh, it's Triple H. It's like okay, I kind of knew that already. I could have predicted the whole Rumble anyways. But the same reason for the Ty Dillinger one, I think the commentators were a creative thing. They came in literally from the announce table to the match, and it was cool because I think JBL went in. I think Booker T went in again. I think Jerry Lawler might have went in that one. So it was cool that they all went in, and I think immediately went back to the announce table after they got eliminated.
Yeah.
So it was like a funny, cool moment that was entertaining. So I had to choose that one over Triple H. It was the creative one, in my opinion. Uh, Anthony, do you want to break
The
the
tiebreaker.
tiebreaker here?
Yeah, I mean, this was a little bit of a tough one for me because the commentators were one of the like strangest surprises in the Rumble, which definitely like adds to its reasoning as to why it could win this round. But I mean, you can't go wrong with Triple H on this one. The way that they like the way everything was lining up to it, they did not announce this Triple H pick whatsoever. I had no idea it was going to happen.
Yeah,
And
me
even the
neither.
way that they filmed it, like, you had uh the way that they should have filmed the AJ Styles one, which we'll
Yes.
talk about in a minute. Um, but it was just like the camera was on the stage and the buzzer hits and the stage just goes green and you just hear and I was like, damn, hold on.
Yeah.
Is Triple H about to win the WWE title in 2016? What kind of universe are we living in?
Exactly.
And he did, and he won. I think he last eliminated like Ambrose from that Rumble. It
Yeah, I
wasn't even
believe so.
Reigns because he eliminated Reigns, and he just starts going like suck it to him, which
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
adds to the reason why I have to give it to him on this one. But yeah, it led to that WrestleMania match, which honestly, it wasn't the worst Mania
It's
match.
not
Like
the
I've gone
worst.
back and rewatched it, and it was fine. Like on TV, it
Yeah.
was just the crowd was dead for it, which
It
rightfully
was.
so. But it was fine.
Was it the,
I'm
was it
gonna
the
give it to
Dallas
Triple
one
H though.
or was that
Yeah, it was Dallas. It wasn't
Dallas?
the
Yeah.
worst
Yeah,
main event though. There's been many bad WrestleMania main events. I
yeah.
wouldn't put that up there. Was it something a lot of people didn't want? 100%. But it wasn't a bad match.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were some
I would
good
agree.
moments in that. The Stephanie spear, like there was a
Yes.
lot of good
Oh
stuff in
Yes.
yes.
that. A lot of
Yes.
redeeming qualities.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad that this one went into the next round, but like I just
And that
didn't
and that also led to him and Ambrose at that
that
random ass
random
house
pay per
show.
view. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that they
roadblock.
turned
Yeah,
roadblock
Roadblock. Yes.
that they
Roadblock.
changed into exclusive
yeah.
network exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. I remember that. But yeah, I'm not mad this one went through, but it wasn't the biggest surprise for me. That's why I didn't choose it.
Gotcha.
So I was like, it is what it is. But
The one thing that I was mad about, sorry to cut you off, Nick, but the one
no
thing I
worries.
was mad about from that whole Triple H one run was that they teased Triple H and Bray Wyatt, and they never
Yes.
capitalized
Oh
on it.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they didn't have enough time with that.
They had like a
Yeah.
stare down, right? At one show,
Yeah,
I
I
believe.
think it was on
Yeah.
Raw that the
Yeah.
like Bray just like caressed the title. It was like, fuck,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you give me
because
this match.
it was leading up to because him and Ambrose were also feuding, Wyatt and Ambrose. So it was like between them two. I think they had a match on who was gonna fight Triple H.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
that's how
Oh
everybody was
yeah,
like, "Oh shit, is this just to set up Ambrose versus Reigns?"
Hmm.
yeah.
I forgot about that. All that is coming back
Yeah,
to me.
it actually led to a lot. It was actually interesting around that time.
Yeah.
But we just all knew how it was gonna end, and nobody wanted it to end the way it
Yeah.
ended.
Yeah. 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 It just,
The
we could have
lead
gone a
up
lot
to it
differently.
was cool though.
The whole build up you said was cool.
Yeah, like the lead
Yeah.
up, like the Rumble win, the feuding with Ambrose and Wyatt at the same time, doing the roadblock match. You know what I mean? Like everything that was happening on Raw leading up to Mania was dope, and then just ended at Mania.
It's crazy to even think about it too. Was like basically everyone who was in that Rumble got a championship opportunity. If you think about it, like they were in a championship match.
Yeah,
Even like the random people that were in it, it was like no, they had a title opportunity. Although it was like a Royal Rumble, so they had to get 30 people in it anyways. But it was still
exactly.
cool to see that people were in it and like, oh, they have a title opportunity. But it was cool. Next round, AJ Styles debut in WWE in 2016 versus Christian's return in 2021. Let me start off this one. I'll start this one off.
Started off.
I got AJ Styles. I got AJ. I mean, that's one of my coolest debuts you can do. I think at that time there hasn't been a debut in a Rumble in a while. So I think the way they presented AJ, especially coming over from Japan, no one knew if he was going to sign. And the way he just came out like number 3 in the pop once his name came up on the Titantron. It was just an amazing moment. I think that was a cool debut for him and everything that led to him afterwards. I think he won the title that year. He was on SmackDown Live the year after. He had the heel run with, I think, Gallows and Anderson that same year. So the whole year, his rookie season in WWE was amazing, but I think the way he was presented in the Rumble was a perfect way to introduce AJ Styles, especially with those who didn't know him prior. So, although I did love the Christian moment, that moment when he hugged Edge in the Rumble match that year, I think that was a special moment, but I think AJ's was impacted the long run because I think Christian went to AEW that same year.
Yes, sir.
So it was like, it was cool, but AJ's meant a lot more in WWE.
Got you, Anthony.
Joel, go ahead.
You want
Because
me
I
to go
see
ahead?
you. I see Joel's like
Nah.
that. You know that Thanos meme that's like, what was he cooking?
Yeah,
That's Joel. He's always got
Alright.
something.
So
Yeah,
this one was tough for me, which
was
it
the
shouldn't
hardest
have
one.
been, but was tough. Christian against Triple H is Christian. Christian against Kevin Nash, Christian. Christian against Dillinger, Christian. AJ was just an impactful moment, like Nick said. It was
Hmm.
AJ Styles actually in the WWE after years of people wanting him there, hoping he was gonna go there, and just I don't even know what to say. It left me speechless what happened because again, rumored and everything, but again, you couldn't really take the word like their word for it for the Rumble. Like it was like, oh yeah, AJ and Nakamura on their way to the US for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Never said when it was gonna happen. You were like they just showed up on Wrestle Kingdom. There's no way in the same month he's gonna be in the Rumble. Proved us wrong.
Yeah.
It was just one of
Yeah.
those moments. They did fuck up the camera angle again, took away from the moment. But if it was shot the way that Triple H's was shot, it would have been incredible. Christian, also a dope ass moment. Kicked off one of Christian's best years in his career. Even though he wasn't in WWE at the time, it did help him, I guess, have find a love again for wrestling. And then we went on to have one of Christian's best years, like I said, in his career. I think having a better run than Edge. I think that you could call that a hot take if you want to. I just think it's a fact.
Very
But
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think AJ just takes this one.
And Anthony, who do you got for this one? I think we already know who won
Yeah.
this
I wanted to
round.
give it to Joel first because I wanted to see if he would pick Christian because that's
Christian,
something
yeah.
he
I
would do.
almost did.
That's what I was thinking
almost
too. I'm like,
did.
Joel is definitely going to choose Christian this round. I had
Because
a
Christian's
feeling.
my guy. Christian's
yeah.
my guy. But
Yeah.
AJ, man. AJ was just
Yeah.
so much hype around it and so much will he, won't he, will it finally happen? Will he finally be in a WWE ring? And then to
Mhm.
debut against the biggest star at the time of Roman Reigns in the ring, perfect moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Tack on one more for AJ. Like his debut in the Royal Rumble. Like people don't talk about like how much. Well, they do talk about it, but they don't talk
Yeah.
about it enough. How much that
Yeah.
really changed the game for WWE going forward. Like this is someone who, like you said, just wrestled earlier in the month at Wrestle Kingdom. He was wrestling on the Indies. You know, he was the leader of the Bullet Club just like
Yeah.
weeks
Not that long
Two
before.
before
two
he
weeks
made
before
Yeah.
that.
he made his debut. And I mean, when was the last time? And this is why I say that he quote unquote changed the game. Like, when was the last time that someone from the independent scene who had made their name for themselves elsewhere outside of WWE finally comes to WWE on the main roster and immediately becomes an impact player? Like, when was the last time around that time period that NXT was booming with all those independent wrestlers at the time?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like on the main roster, he's skipped NXT. I think the last time that you can
Exactly.
honestly say
Exactly.
that for someone was maybe Daniel Bryan, because you kind of had NXT, but it was that game show shit by that point. So
Yeah.
like maybe,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. From that point on, like not even, I was going to say like from that point on, you would start to see a lot more independent wrestlers on the main roster, but like majority of those independent wrestlers still have to go through NXT. Like you had Nakamura come in and he
Yeah.
still had to go through NXT.
Yeah.
So when you
Exactly.
really kind of look at it, AJ was one of a kind when it comes to his type of debut on the main roster, let alone a Royal Rumble appearance. You get pushed to a spot in the Royal Rumble, a premier spot. I mean, like you've been saying, Nick, like you get a championship match on your first night, and then he goes on to do what he did in his first year. I mean, he's going to be a hard one to beat in this whole bracket. I'm giving it to AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear as
And
day. It sucks
I
for
think,
Christian, though.
yeah, I think it was the fact for me that he had to skip NXT and just kill it without having to. Because I think with him compared to the other call ups, it was like every other call up had to like, even though they had a time in NXT, they still had to find their way on the main roster again.
Mhm.
And with him, it was like this is AJ Styles on the Rumble, and then he kept the momentum going from there, as if people already knew who he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if that made sense, but it was like this is AJ Styles. He's in the Rumble, and then kind of just skipped the introduction part and just went straight for it. His first big feud was against Jericho at Mania that year, and
Y2AJ, baby.
Y2AJ, yeah. So
Yeah.
I just love that whole run
That whole
Again,
first couple months was ridiculous for
it
him.
did, yeah.
Doing the tag team with Jericho, feuding with Jericho, the night after Mania, winning the Fatal 4-Way to become the #1 contender to fight Roman Reigns in May, right after Mania. Um, then even the OC showed up after Mania, like 2 weeks after Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they also skipped NXT, but I'll give. They were with Gallows was part of that. You can't
I
really have Gallows go
Gallows
through
and Anderson
NXT
had to
again.
be with AJ. I wouldn't say that they
Yeah, you
earned their
couldn't
main.
you couldn't put them in NXT. They
Yeah,
are.
Yeah.
It's just it's the Bullet
it
Club. You
had
know
to
what I mean?
happen.
Like yeah,
Yeah. It
you had to
was.
do it. It was trash the way they did it in Milwaukee, where they got really no reaction.
Yeah,
Um,
good point.
I think that kind of hurt their momentum with like the higher ups backstage because they were like, whoa,
I think they
they
had
didn't really
like
get a reaction,
expectation.
but it was like you're in fucking Milwaukee. Like you
Exactly.
could have did that. You
Exactly.
could have had them show up the night after Mania. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
night after Mania place would have went insane.
that would have been a
But yeah,
prime
it
place to
was
bring them up.
yeah. But yeah,
Mm,
AJ, like you said, it's gonna be tough to beat in in this
I know
bracket.
it is.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, that's another clean sweep there. Next round, we got Alexander Rusev, his first Royal Rumble run in 2014, going up against Beth Phoenix's run in 2010 in the men's Royal Rumble match. Um, Joel, do you want to kick this one off? Do you want to start this one off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I think Rusev. I think Rusev was dope as hell. I think he was the first Rumble surprise from an NXT superstar that we had,
I
like
think so.
officially. Uh, yeah, it was just like, whoa, I see this dude on Wednesday nights at NXT. What's he doing here? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I just think, and he made an impact. A lot of people were talking about him after that, and there was no denying that he was gonna be a star in WWE, which he should have been, but just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Can't get
yeah,
yourself over.
yeah. I mean, I think that was. I agree with you. I was going to say the same thing, but Rusev was the one of the fewest names. But um, I personally didn't go with him. I went with Beth Phoenix on this one because that one in the men's one, I believe she was the second woman to get beat in the men's match.
Yes.
So I think that moment when she eliminated Kali, she took a GTS from CM Punk right after. Um, I think she, even though it was not that long, I think it was an impressive run for the men's rumble.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
And I
Yeah.
think people talk about that moment a lot more to this day than Rusev's run. So that's one of my favorite moments too. That ever since I started watching wrestling, so I had to give it to her. I had to give it to her winning that one.
Not gonna
Anthony,
lie, before Anthony goes, I low key hated that moment. But
you did. You were.
yeah, I don't know
You-
why. Just it never like when I was even watching it live, I was just like, and
and
I
it
was
was
like, okay,
like
let's see what happens. And then the way she eliminated Kali, I was like, of
it
course
made
they were gonna
sense though
go
because
that
at that
way.
time,
I was, yeah, it made sense, but I
because he
just
was doing the kiss cam and it was like
yeah,
made sense, but it was
yeah,
cool though.
it did make sense. But like, you should just have her like just body slam him over the top rope.
Oh,
That
no.
would
That
like
would have been dope.
the way Cesaro did at the um Andre Battle Royal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
Oh
they could have
yeah,
just
yeah.
Could
did
you
something like
imagine?
that.
But the big show was like,
Beth just
Yeah.
opening up.
yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah.
So another tiebreaker here. So
We'll put you on the spot.
I was torn
Put you in the
on.
hot seat.
Yeah, we put
I
you in the
know.
hot seat.
I was torn on Rusev, but I was more torn on putting Rusev in this bracket to begin with. I think he was one of my last picks to throw in because I was torn on technically two people who really could have filled this spot because Rusev wasn't the first NXT call up. He was the second. The one
Okay.
before in the 2013 Rumble was Bo Dallas. And I was
Dallas, I
very
forgot.
close
Oh
on picking
yes,
Bo
yeah.
because
But
he
wasn't
like
that like
won
his
some type of
actual call up
NXT.
though?
What was that?
What was that his actual call up?
It
For the
wasn't his
Rumble?
call up. Like he was there for a little, like just for the Rumble because
Okay.
I remember they did a tournament like Royal Rumble weekend, and they were like the winner of the tournament goes on to win, goes
Gotcha.
on for a spot in the Rumble,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't come back until he did the Bo Leave shit anyway. So
Exactly,
it was
yeah.
like, but I really like that Bo Dallas run also because it has like some purpose to it. Like he was the first NXT member in
Yes.
the Rumble. Like he did
Yeah.
pretty well from what I remember too. He had a killer theme song at the time too, even though it was generic. Like that was one of my
Yeah.
That was one of my themes that I liked. I remember I used to have this app. I used to have like a shitty Android phone. But the good thing about that phone was that there were these knockoff apps where you could download them. This is getting off topic, but you could download them
Nice.
and it was just like WWE themes. And there were a bunch of buttons that you press
shit.
and played like maybe 30 seconds of the WWE theme. And they would release like different ones of every few months. And then I finally got WWE themes number 7. And I was like, fuck, I really hope they put the Bo Dallas theme on this. Because like he just came to the Rumble. I was like, if I see this theme, I'm gonna go crazy. And I open it and Bo Dallas' theme's there. I'm like, fuck yeah. So I start playing that theme. I'm like, this is the greatest theme of all time. Nevertheless, so that's the only reason why I wanted to put him on that list. But I was like, no, I can't do it. The theme song wasn't enough justification. Rusev was a great entrant regardless, though. Like that was still when he had like that, like that weird attire that he was wearing, like the brown.
He had a first name.
He had his hair all like curly and stuff. He looked pretty cool. I can't even was he still wearing that? I think he was. I'm gonna go with it. Regardless,
I think that's why he still had no boots.
Yes, he had no boots either. Yeah.
And he also set up the Kofi Kingston spot, which was what I most remember. Like he put Kofi on the barricade, and that was one of my favorite Kofi spots because he legit jumped from like he did a running start from the barricade to the ring. Was cool, but I'm giving it to Beth. It was just like something that you don't see every day in the Rumble. Seeing a women's wrestler come into the men's Royal Rumble. I was surprised that we still get that nowadays. Like we got Nia in the 2019 Royal Rumble, which was a cool moment in itself. So it's always good to see that every once in a while. I'm glad that they don't overdo it. Like we maybe get it like every few years. And really, like Nick, you mentioned it, like Beth taking the GTS was one of the main reasons why I put that, because like
she took it. She really took it. It looked so real.
Like, yeah. Like, you don't get like intergender wrestling in WWE really ever. Like we're starting to get it lately, but it's like very, like PG. Like you don't like you get like Rhea Ripley and Tozawa, and you even had like Reginald, if you remember that, with Sasha Banks. Like, and it's very like performative, but like that was something that we don't even see nowadays. Like she took a GTS from Punk.
Yeah.
That was nuts. So I'm giving it to Beth. Also, shout out to CM Punk in that Royal Rumble. Because his performance was, if we were talking about best Royal Rumble performers of the 2010s, Punk's up there. Punk's in the final.
Because I remember he had like a promo after like each like elimination he had. He just sat there, cut a promo, and then just
do you step straight edge into your life? And Kali.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one too. That was a good entrance as well.
Yeah. But Beth had a really good. It was just a good moment overall in the Rumble. So I put her in there.
Yeah, I mean,
it was either her or Nia, and I was like, Nia taking a bunch of finishers isn't enough justification.
Exactly. I was gonna say like that wasn't a memorable one. I could easily forget about that one, but
I mean, she did take that RKO. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I could have put in Nia, but
she took it kind of clean.
She did. And all the shit in 619 as well.
I'm kind of regretting. Maybe I should have put. All right, we're not changing it now. We're going with that. We're going with
been Beth. It should have been Beth and Nia.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should have been. Yeah. Being into the next round, Bubba Ray Dudley in 2015 going up against Trish Stratus in 2018, the first Women's Royal Rumble match. Anthony, you want to start this one off?
So I'll start it off. Again. Yeah, I'm giving it to Bubba Ray Dudley. I wanted to give it to Trish, but then I remembered it was the first Royal Rumble for the women. And if I'm not mistaken, they had said that Trish was going to be in that Rumble. Wasn't that the case?
She was like on the flyer.
I think she was like, she was announced in some capacity. So even putting her at number 30, it's like, cool, Trish is back. But like, one, you had Lita in the match, so you knew that you were going to have Trish in the match.
Yeah.
Like
Yo, facts.
it's
Yeah.
hard to really like hide that surprise. So that kind of took away from Trish had a really good performance in that Rumble regardless. Um, she did that kind of square off with Sasha. Um, she had that moment with Mickey James, which was good too.
Yeah.
But it kind of took away that like it wasn't that much of a surprise. When you look at Bubba Ray Dudley, it's like he came in at number 3 in that Rumble.
Yeah.
Random surprise. This was before the tag team run when he came back with Devon.
Yeah, because he came
Um,
back later that year, right?
yeah.
If I'm not
Yeah.
So
mistaken.
it just
Okay.
continues the trend of just these returns come back later on in the year.
Getting that itch. That's what
Yeah,
it
he
is.
really did. And I love that the crowd was cheering for Devon to come back, which it was like,
Yeah.
fuck, do wish we saw. I wish we saw Devon in that match too, but like, it was what it was.
Yeah.
It was kind of just the same as like Booker T. Like he just did all of like his highlights, he did all of his moves, and then he got eliminated. Like
Yeah.
it was fine. He actually did stay in for a little bit. I think Bray
He was there
like
for
eliminated
he
him
was there for
when
a
Bray
bit.
came in, and he
He
did.
was he was there for quite some time, but I think it was Bray. Yeah.
Yeah, it was someone, but yeah, I'm giving it to Bubba Ray because did they do a table spot? I can't
Uh,
remember if they. I can't remember if like someone went under the.
I have
I
a
know they did the
feeling.
what I know they did the what's up spot. I know
Yeah, they
did
did the what's. Okay,
3D.
maybe it was that. It wasn't the table.
I don't
Then.
I don't think they did a table spot. Now that I'm
Okay,
thinking about
but
it.
yeah, regardless, it was still cool to see him. So
Yeah.
I'm giving
They
it
still
to
they still
Bubba.
hit the highlights.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a feeling that was R-Truth that took the table spot. I don't know why. That was the first thing that came up.
Oh yeah, he
I
was
could be
in
wrong.
the. He was like the Devon basically
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he goes, "Our truth hit the tables."
Yeah, yeah. Joel, what do you got with this round?
This one was very easy for me. Bubba.
Bubba. Okay.
Bubba, 2015. We haven't seen him so long, and it's Philly. Come
Yeah.
on, the home of ECW.
That added to
We
it for
knew
sure.
that Pop was gonna we didn't know he was gonna be in there. So when he came out, it was just one of those moments that the place went nuts. You were probably at home going nuts. It was just such a surprise, and like you say, they did all the nostalgia spots. Trish, cool moment. She did her thing in the Rumble. What took away a lot from me was Lita was in the Rumble also. How did they not share the ring?
Yeah.
The two biggest women of that era, and Lita was eliminated before Trish even came out.
It was ridiculous.
Like, how didn't you have that stare off? And
I
like
know.
one more like 2 minute just go back and forth with them too. Like I think that's what takes a lot away from that return for me.
Mm-hmm. No,
I mean,
really good point.
I had Trish winning this one,
Okay.
mainly because of all the moments she had with the younger talent. I know the Lita one could have been a lot, but I think there's a stare down she had with Sasha, particularly. She was in it almost the entire match.
Yeah, that was a
I
good
think
moment.
I think that moment itself was pretty cool. And especially it was the first one, so you could not have Trish Stratus in it. I feel like it is to me between these two. I think Trish Stratus returning at that Rumble meant a bigger deal than Devon. Because Devon, yeah, it was cool. I loved it, but if he didn't, be in it, was it a big deal? Would it have been a big deal? No. Like you could have easily not had Bubba Ray in that Rumble at all.
But
You didn't
guess
even
what?
have
He
Devon.
was, and it was ridiculous.
You didn't even have Devon. Like, why would you not have Devon? So I'm like, you know what, Trish Stratus makes sense. The first one, I think that would have been like, it was more important to me. That's how I looked at it.
Gotcha.
It was just more important to have Trish in it. But I'm not mad about the Bubba Ray one as well.
Yeah.
So
That was the second most difficult one, honestly, besides
Yeah.
AJ and Christian. I was like, do I go with Trish? But
Yeah.
there was too many factors with Trish.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you sit back and you look at stuff. That's what happened to me. I was like, yeah, like she was kind of like you already knew she was gonna be there. You had to wait for her. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
She could. I think it would have been a bigger moment if she would have came earlier.
Yeah.
Like, if she wasn't like number 4 or 5, it would have been like, oh shit, like they already put it. Like okay, let's see what happens. But that she came out so late, I think it takes away from it.
Yeah. That is true. Wow. First round already done. Jesus. That was only the first round. Second round, now getting into it. Edge in 2020, Booker T in 2011. Joel, let's start with you in this one. Who do you have between these two?
Edge. It's
Edge.
just Edge, man. Yeah.
Do we all have Edge in this one?
Edge is Edge.
Edge,
Yeah.
yeah. I had Edge too. Another clean sweep. But even though Booker T's is
Love
entertaining,
Booker, but
Yeah.
Spinneroonie was one of my favorite
Yeah.
moments in Rumble 2011, but
I
it
just-
doesn't top Edge. Come
yeah,
on.
Yeah.
Edge just has so many factors to it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like you
I
said,
just-
either one you could pick either one, and it's just such.
But
a moment.
Edge, I think it's for me, it was just the 9 years that he had off, and it was like
Yeah.
his reaction when he came out, when he cried a little bit. It was like that's how you know it was real. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
that moment was just insane.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't not have Edge in that one. The next round, Kevin Nash, Ty Dillinger, from 2011 and 2017. Anthony, who would you choose this to advance to the next round? I know he had Rey Mysterio in the first round.
I hyped up Ty Dillinger in the last round, but Ty, like, now it comes down to, like, nitpicking things, and it's like, although the moment was great for Ty, like, he didn't really last that long in the match, and I don't remember a single move that he hit in
Yeah.
that Rumble.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. So I'm gonna give it to Nash. Although I wouldn't have put him this high to begin with, because although the entrance was great, again, I don't remember a lot of what happened when Nash was in them. I don't even remember who eliminated him, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
So I
Me
mean,
neither.
I think it just comes down to like who, like, I remember Nash hit a big boot. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I think that was probably the only move I
So
thought
I
to do. I was like,
I
that had
think
to be
his
the big move.
biggest moment was on the stage when he put on the glove. I think that was
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah,
moment he
yeah.
had.
Hand
that's
up,
really what it was.
After the entrance, that was the biggest moment.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, still the entrance, Matt Stryker
Yes.
damn near saying "holy shit" on the call. Like,
Going nuts.
everything
It was
everything
nuts.
was good about this. Like, I'm okay with advancing Nash here.
Yeah. Joel, who do you have this on to?
Yeah, Nash.
Nash.
Yeah.
Cool. Me too. I think Nash was a more surprise than Ty
Yeah.
Dillinger.
Yeah.
A lot of sweeps here.
A lot of sweep. Yeah. I mean, so far
Well,
the second
surprised-
round has more sweeps. I think the second
Yeah.
just as many as almost.
First was a little back and forth.
Yeah, that is true. The
Because
first
then
round
it
was
just
back and forth.
becomes common sense. It's like, what was the bigger moment? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. For this round, Triple H, AJ Styles the same year.
Battle 2016.
Battle 2016, exactly. I have to go with AJ Styles. I mean, Triple H, cool moment. He won the championship, but AJ Styles, again, like we said in the first round, that year he had when he debuted, and that moment itself, from all the rumors and speculations till it actually happening, was just, I think not a lot of people talk about it, but it's just a very awesome moment. And for me, nothing can top that within those last 10 years. So I had AJ Styles moving on to the next round. What do you guys got?
Joel, go ahead.
I got AJ. AJ's just, it's AJ. Like,
Yeah.
we were waiting
AJ's AJ.
years for that. It's AJ. Like,
Yeah.
can't even say anything more than that.
Yeah. I mean, it's AJ. Like,
Yeah.
there was-
Both
like,
great
not even
moments,
talking
both
about
great
20.
moments. But
Yeah, I mean, not even just talking about, like, I know we're doing greatest Royal Rumble surprises since 2010. Like,
ever.
he's ever
I
Mhm.
think,
is AJ Styles.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what's
Yeah,
crazy
that's
was
true.
even like, that was his first performance.
Exactly. That was his first one. It
Yeah.
wasn't even a return. It was a debut, which is even
Yeah.
cooler. So,
And I think
Another-
that also showed to, like, a lot of the people, like, running WWE that, like, even without the WWE mold of, like, making stars, like, people can still get a reaction
yeah,
without the WWE system. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, when the word phenomenal came up on the screen,
Yeah.
crowd went nuts.
Because I remember Roman Reigns' reaction too. He was just standing there confused, like, who is this guy?
Right.
And then the word, like you said, the word phenomenal came up, and it was like everyone was like, "Oh, you heard the oh!" It wasn't even like cheering. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was just oh my god, and then the realization hit. Then people started cheering.
Yeah.
And it was like it's AJ. So I was like, that was a cool moment. That was
really
a
good
cool
moment.
Yeah.
Another clean
It's
sweep.
AJ, man. Come on.
It's
Yeah.
just AJ.
AJ.
Can't even make an
AJ.
argument about it. It's just
Yeah. Yeah. Next round, Beth Phoenix in 2010 Men's Royal Rumble, and then Bubba Ray Dudley in 2015. Who wants to go first with this one? Because I might have a hot take.
I'll kick it off. I'm going with Bubba.
Okay. For same reasons as
Yeah. Nostalgia, man.
Kind of expected that from Joel, honestly.
Come on.
Yeah, he's always nostalgia. It's the nostalgia pick for him.
I love
always.
it, man. And also, like I said before, I wasn't really big on the Beth Phoenix moment.
And what about you,
fine,
Anthony?
But like, I'm not
sorry.
like, whoa, yeah, this is beating Bubba.
Yeah.
Go
I can
ahead,
see.
Nick.
I was gonna go with Beth. Because I think the same reason you said for Beth, Joel. I wasn't too sold on Bubba Ray that year. Maybe I wasn't around that much when he was in WWE, but for me it was like, oh, just Bubba Ray Dudley, cool. So it didn't really mean much to me that year. It was just another surprise entrance that
Exactly.
didn't really do much for me. So I just thought Beth Phoenix's was a memorable moment than Bubba's. Because I forgot he returned that year until I saw this list that Anthony sent me. I was like, oh, Bubba Ray Dudley forgot he returned that year. But
ridiculous, Nick. Ridiculous.
I know. That's why I said it was a hot
do
take.
better, man.
I said it was a hot take.
Right?
I know. I warned y'all. I warned y'all. Anthony again with a tiebreaker. You gotta narrow it down here.
Again, it comes down to how memorable, like this is when we get down to like how memorable was everything in that moment. And yes, Bubba got all those, get the tables and stuff in, but then again, he did all that stuff with R-Truth. Like, I feel like it would have, if we were talking about the Dudleys from 2015 Royal Rumble, then it's a no-brainer.
Story.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's only Bubba Ray, that to me kind of takes it down a little bit, especially since we had just seen him since we had just seen this guy do Bully Ray. I would have popped if Bully Ray came out to the Royal Rumble.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
Would have never happened. But if we saw that, Bully Ray would be in the fucking finals by now.
Yeah.
But with all that into consideration, I remember Beth Phoenix Rumble, entrance, like damn near move by move, just because of how much they kind of push it, that it was such a big thing. Like, it was Chyna, it was Beth, it was Karma, and then it was Nia. Like, those were the four.
I forgot about Karma.
Me too. Karma was another one that I was like, do I put her in? But then I was like, no, because she was in there in like 2012. Like, she eliminated Hunico. Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
I would have looked at the list and said, oh shit, I gotta rewatch that. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, like, oh shit, Karma just eliminated Hunico. Oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
I think she hit like her she hit her finisher on Dolph. So I was like,
I think she had a moment with Michael Cole too. Didn't she?
Yeah,
had
but
a moment with Michael Cole?
She eliminated him? I think Cole just stepped over the ropes. I was
maybe.
Yeah.
That's not worth the spot.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it to Beth. Okay. Again, Beth eliminating Kali was cool. Getting a GTS, but now that I'm thinking about it, I probably would have gone with Nia anyways. And another reason why I'm picking Beth is who has the best chance against AJ. That's really what it comes down to now. It's like, who can I really put up against AJ and be like, okay, maybe they have a little bit of a chance.
Yeah, because this was my final four.
Tough.
This is my final four here. So
this was not my final four, but it was close. Okay.
Well, this was mine. It's Edge versus Kevin Nash and AJ Styles in 2016 versus Beth Phoenix in 2010. With the Edge and Kevin Nash one.
These are kind of no-brainers, right?
Yeah. Anthony, do you have Edge?
Right?
Yeah. No, I'm going Kevin Nash and Beth Phoenix as my I mean, it's Edge and AJ. You couldn't if we had gone with anything else, I would have been like, just delete this episode. Just
exactly.
Yeah. They have deleted because that we just ruined the Fanatics Brackets credibility.
ASC has left the chat. It was just dipped.
I was deleted the whole channel. We'll be like, nope. Didn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, have you all got AJ too?
Yeah. AJ, it's just no argument, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You could have played against anybody of all time and still give AJ that
Yeah,
edge. AJ and
literally
Edge.
that
Here we
edge,
go.
that edge
Who
in
we
the
got,
finals.
There it
guys?
is.
This is a tough one for me. Now I'll start this one off. I'll start this
Kick
one
it
off.
off, Nick.
I wouldn't be mad with whoever wins this. Just want to say that out of the way. Wouldn't be mad who wins, but I'm gonna start it off and say that I chose Edge to win this one. I chose Edge. I just
Cool.
think that, like, although I loved the AJ Styles debut, I think returning after 9 years after no one knew that was happening. You know,
Yeah.
we thought he was done for good, and he was done. The
Mhm.
fact that he didn't tweet about it, there was no reports about it. He just showed up, and that reaction, that was just insane. So I think, and I thought it was just going to be like a one-time appearance. I didn't think it was going to be like a full return, that he was cleared either. So the fact that he came out, he returned, had a run after that, he's still going. That's just insane to me. I
Yeah.
think that's really incredible, and especially I grew up on Edge. So I mean, even cooler to see him back. That meant more to me as well, personally as a fan.
Yeah.
So I had to choose Edge there.
Anthony.
Go ahead, Joel.
Nah.
No, go ahead.
Rock,
Go
paper,
ahead.
scissors.
Guess first.
All right, fine. Again, this was. I mean, like obviously, it was going to come down to this. I feel like
You know.
it was
Yeah.
hard
We
not
all
to.
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Like this is when it really like for me, it was like okay, you have to like compare every aspect of a Royal Rumble uh debut, return, surprise entrant, and it's like it came down to really two things for me, and it was the it well one it was the pop. Like if we're talking about
Yeah.
like the Rumble pop, yes, AJ got a huge pop, but like Edges was insane. It was to be fair, it was in a much bigger venue,
Bigger stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I feel like that adds to it too because like usually those pops when it's like in a bigger stadium, you know,
There's more
sometimes it
echo.
gets like drained out a little bit just because of how big it is. But like that shit was loud. It was really, really loud for him. So I'm giving it the edge, pun intended, to edge on that. And then when you're talking about the performance in the Rumble itself, like, yes, AJ came in at number 3, which also a weird number to come in like at number 3. Like,
Yeah.
if they did number 2, now we're talking. But number 3, I was like, okay.
He should have been number
Um,
one.
he should have been number
They
Imagine.
1.
should have kicked
Yeah.
it off with him.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you have AJ come in at number 3. I don't even know who he eliminated. And then he gets eliminated like at a random point in like the middle of the match by Kevin Owens. And it's like, yes, it was really for the moment, but I could have seen a little bit more in the performance. Even if he was in like the final 4, like that could have bumped him up a little bit. I think he was eliminated before like number 20 something came in. Like he didn't really last as long
That
as
long.
maybe he could have to be the winner here. But then you look at Edge, and it's like, yes, he came in at number 20, but he lasted to the final 3. He eliminated Orton. He eliminated Styles. I mean, he had the great moment with Orton, the rated RKO shit. He had a really good final 3 with Reigns and McIntyre, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Edge. There's too much, like
Ooh.
even with the stuff surrounding like the 9 years and all of that, based on like the performance itself, because you can make the case of like the surrounding shit, like it's so important to have an indie wrestler come into the Rumble, or it's 9 years since his since he retired. If you're talking about from a performance standpoint, it's Edge. Like he had such a good showing in that Rumble, especially with someone not wrestling consistently for many years.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Edge.
Okay. Well, I still
No.
give it to AJ.
Okay.
AJ's, I think, is the most important entrant in any Rumble ever. Having that guy come in, not a WWE guy, never stepped foot in a WWE ring, to come in against your biggest guy, your top star, taking his moves
Yeah.
making him look fantastic.
Mhm.
I think he got eliminated. I think Kevin Owens came out like 18,
Yeah,
19. So he was in
something
there
like
for
that.
a bit.
Like
Yeah.
before
I
20.
think Vince wasn't sold on him because they even said they didn't know the reaction he was gonna get. So
Mhm.
we knew he wasn't gonna be in the final four. It was
Yeah.
just cool that he got the moment in there. And then, like I said, man, it's just AJ Edge. It was cool for what it was. Yeah, it led to all that stuff. I felt like me personally, I was reading the blogs and shit, knew it was coming. It was just again, I'll believe it when I see it. But again, I just think AJ just had a bigger impact on WWE as a whole more than
Yeah,
Edge did coming back. So
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
why I give the edge to AJ.
Yeah.
You give the edge to AJ and
AJ.
the
Yeah.
edge from the
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The AJ.
Also, AJ actually wrestled his first full year back. So, like, I don't know if you want
That's
to
a
also
good point
put that
too.
in a
Yeah.
factor. But, nah,
Yeah.
I'm fucking with that. But, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my pick.
See, I wouldn't, like I said before, I wasn't gonna be mad who won it, but
No,
Edge
yeah, facts.
was our winner of the group. This is pretty identical to what I had. The only difference is that I chose Trish over Bubba, but it's pretty identical to my bracket,
My
which is pretty
difference
cool.
was Bubba was in the final four, and then AJ won the whole thing. But it was still the same
I
final
had
two.
Ray. Ray was instead of Nash.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I
yeah, that is
think.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have it.
Yeah,
Ray
you said
instead
you
of
had
Nash.
Ray.
Everything else was pretty much the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a pretty fun bracket. Thank you,
Facts, yeah.
Anthony, for choosing this topic of the greatest Royal
Yes.
Rumble
Thank you
surprises
for
since
being the first
2010.
guest, man.
Yeah, thank you for that too. Do you
Yeah,
want
thank
to
you for
plug
having me.
yourself?
I'm glad that I could be the first guest again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for
First
coming
of
on.
many. Don't worry. He'll
Exactly,
be
first of
back.
many.
Yeah.
There's gonna be five times more probably for you to be back.
I know now I need to be five
So
times. Well, technically, so I'm not a 5-time Ring Fanatics podcast guest
No,
yet.
not
So I need
yet.
to make
yeah,
Not
not
yet.
yet. Yeah,
so I
but
got to make an appearance
you
on
built the
that, and then I
channel
got to
5 times.
make 4 more appearances on the bracket, and then I'll be okay.
What was the last episode you were on for the
I
Ring
think
Fanatics?
yeah.
So
What
we
was it? It
Mania.
was
remember.
a
Was
Mania
it
last
Mania
year.
last year?
Yeah,
So I
Mania
don't know.
predictions.
There is a Mania this year.
Yeah,
There
there is
is
a
a
So
Mania
Mania.
this year.
Yeah,
So I think that's where you get the 5-time title at.
Oh, I'll see
exactly.
you there.
I
I'll see
think
you
it sounds
there.
like a plan.
Exactly. You want to plug yourself in where people can find you and listen to your stuff?
Yeah. So like it was said at the top of the show, like I kind of rebranded my stuff now. I used to be the independent epicenter, but had to change some stuff around. You can find me now. I'm just really posting a lot of like content that it's kind of just helping out my own portfolio, just making some wrestling content that I enjoy making. And I'm just putting it out into the world. Just, fuck it. That's why. That's my approach to content now. It's just fuck it. That's why I'm making it. So you can follow me on Instagram at ASC Videos Official. You can follow me on Twitter at ASC Vids Official. I think I got that right. I don't even know my own handles at this point. And on
Don't worry.
YouTube, I changed them up so much that I don't even know what they are. And on YouTube, you can just search in ASC videos and you'll find me there. It's just the Titantron. I kind of rebranded it. So if you already subscribe to the Titantron, you're already there. So just make sure that you support the videos. First video that I ever posted on the new account was the Brian Danielson returns home video. It was right before his return to Washington on AEW when he faced Tony Nese. So I made a little hype package, kind of hyping that up. I was pretty proud with how it came out. If you enjoy it, make sure you leave a like and a comment on it. And I'm always posting some random shit on the Instagrams and Twitter, so always check out what I got going on there. You can also support the Turnbuckle Tavern. I do the Raw Down. I'm one of the 3 hosts for the show with J-Bone and Marco, the MVP from the Chick Foley show. So we do our shows Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We talk all things WWE. We've been having some very interesting conversations in the last few weeks with this whole Vince McMahon thing. I don't know if you guys heard about all that happening, but we've been having some fun over there. So make sure you come check us out. What we're doing. And also just a quick plug. I know that I'm not really like one of the faces of the company, but check out Invictus Pro Wrestling. They are like one of the best indie wrestling companies that you will find And I'm not just saying that because I do a lot of work for them. But they have some really great shit going on. They have a show March 3rd in the Bronx Brewery. I can never say brewery. The
Me
Bronx
too. I can't say
Brewery.
that word right.
Yeah.
Brewery.
It's such a tongue twister.
It's one of those
Yeah.
words that's just like,
I'll never be able
Gotta
to
say it
say it.
slowly.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out what Invictus has got going on. I always pop in with some hype packages or some, superstar highlights and all that type of shit. So check out their socials. I'm always, making some content for them, and watch their shows because they have some really good matches. And I know that this
Yeah.
March 3rd show is going to be probably one of their best. So big year for Invictus this year in 2023. And again, thank you guys for having me on. I'm always glad to be a honorary ring fanatic. So
yes,
I'll be
sir.
back whenever you
Acknowledge.
need me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on again, bro. If everyone's listening to this, go follow all his pages that you just plugged in, including Invictus Pro Wrestling. For anybody who's listening to this, wants to be a part of a future episode of the Fanatic Brackets, just DM us on Instagram. We'll get you on a future episode. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in to the very first episode of the Fanatic Brackets, the revamped version of the Ring Fanatics YouTube channel. Subscribe to our channel, give this YouTube video a like, the audio streaming platforms a 5-star review. I am Nick, your host, here with Joel and Anthony, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you.